It's another day here in Saipan. Today we are welcome you once again to another episode of Better Catholics. And this episode is dedicated to all the mothers. So this is a Mother's Day episode honoring all the mothers here in the diocese and all over the world. The mothers that are listening to us all over. We have a special guest today because the topic is not only about mothers, but this is a very special group of women. It's called the Nanan Kilisiano. And to talk about the Nanan Kilisiano in detail, we have invited a very special guest, of course, Esther Fleming. Esther Fleming, would you like to say something about yourself and what you do with the Nanan Kilisiano?
Yes, thank you, Father. My name is Esther Fleming, and I'm the president for the Confraternity of Christian Mothers at Cristo Rey. At the same time, I am also the treasurer for the island board. That's a combination of all the presidents from the different parishes, and we kind of form an organization so that it's easier to bring down information when special events are coming up. And that really helps us with a lot. We're very, very active on the islands. We just need to bring it a little bit more life to the outer islands of Rota and Tinian. Not only do I represent the Christian Mothers, but I am also the CCD coordinator for Cristo Rey, for which close to about 250 students are usually registered annually for Cristo Rey. And we handle from first grade all the way up to confirmation in the high school.
I see that you're very involved in the church, and Nanan Kilisiano is one of them. And Bishop, I don't know, because I'm very new here in the island. It's my first time actually to hear about this group of women, the Nanan Kilisiano. Is this an old organization or here in the diocese? Or?
It's probably one of the longest Catholic affiliated organization in our diocese. I believe even before we became a diocese, when I came here in the 90s, this organization has already been in existence. And we know that the Nanan Kilisiano Christian Mothers is affiliated to other organizations, Christian Mothers in the US and the entire world. But before that, I just also want to emphasize that Mrs. Esther Fleming, I call her Bonita, Spanish word for pretty. That's actually her nickname in the family, but I kind of steal it and use it. And then thank you really for your time today. But you know, you're not only with the Christian Mothers, but she's been involved in practically everything. I joke to her that her full-time job with no pay is the church. And she has been dedicating her life to the parish of Cristo Rey, CCD since day one. Many activities in the parish. RCIA, she is a part of the RCIA and the Nanan Kilisiano. So because our topic is about the Nanan Kilisiano, I am really proud of the group and grateful for this ministry. And perhaps Mrs. Fleming can help us share more, enlighten what is the purpose, what are the activities. And as you can see in there already, she's an organizer. So the things that we would like to share with our listeners about this apostolate, about this ministry.
Thank you, Bishop. The Christian, it's actually called the Confraternity of Christian Mothers worldwide. And it first started out in a very small town in the mid-1800s, 1850, I think, and in a small town called Seville in France.
Exactly, 1850. My goodness, you get an A. I did a research.
Oh, you did?
1850. So far, A for Mrs. Fleming.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, this is my baby, so
yes.
I should know better, yeah. And it first started out with just a small group of mothers. They would gather their kids, and they wanted to impart in their kids the religious life and teach the catechism within their own home. And then when other people start realizing that they would want their children also, they don't have the Catholic school to run the program. So they send their children to homes And from there, it grew out into an organization. And throughout the world, we have close to about 20 confraternities worldwide. In the U.S., we fall under the Confraternity of Christian Mothers in Pittsburgh, Philadelphia. And so the director for the confraternity, Father Joseph, I think, from Tuscany, came in once already about 2 years ago to visit us. When he visits Guam, we make it a point that he makes it also to the CNMI. From there, one interesting thing for the CNMI here, yes, it is one of the oldest programs. And you know how I knew it, because when Father Joe was here, we were trying to register and our names never appeared in Pittsburgh in their archives. They went to New York, their main archive area. They couldn't find. And the only reason that they couldn't find was a lot of the churches in Guam are the same names as Saipan, San Roque, which is Barrigada, Mount Carmel. Yeah. We have Dionisio, San Jose, St. Jude. And so they thought that Saipan is part of Guam, so they never get to register. To make it much more interesting on how far we went back on this was, and I cannot believe, so I keep going back and forth with the archives in Pittsburgh. And then it finally dawned on me that they thought that St. Joseph, San Jose here is the same as San Jose in Guam. And I go, no, that's Guam. This is a different island. It's about a little bit 100 miles away. And he goes, oh, so none of you are registered, but we have Rota and Tinian are the only two that were registered. Now, Rota was registered in 1948 together with all the parishes in Guam. That's how they went all the way back. And so I'm sure that in Rota, for me, how did Rota got in? We used to have the Capuchin on the islands.
That's correct.
And one of them used to be stationed in Rota by the name of Father Martian. He's an OFM. And so he probably started there because I went back and I looked. It was Father Martian's name that was appearing on the signatory. And then when he got transferred to Tinian, he registered Tinian. And then he moved over to Saipan, and then he was designated as the pastor for San Jose, Oliai. But at that time already, he was a little bit older now, and he was transferring out of Saipan at that time. And that's how we all started. For the rest of the other, for us, San Roque, San Vicente, Santa Soledad, Cristo Rey, all of us now are registered under the Pittsburgh Archconfraternity of Christian Mothers. And we just got officially became a member in 2019, August of 2019. You signed off on all of that one. And so that's the history of the CNMI. The role of and the main purpose for the confraternity is really the most important part. And it's actually like 3 that we have to comply with if we are to fall under Pittsburgh. The main one is that we have to be catechists. They are the actual catechists in the different parishes. And no matter what other activity that you join, it has to be affiliated with the teaching of the children. And that was one of the main things. The second one is that we have to follow Pittsburgh's official name, which is the confraternity. And so for us, it will be the Confraternity of Christian Mothers. We translated that as the Nanankelizano. Everybody knows it as that. Only a few people would use the other term, which is the confraternity. And then the third one is that we have to follow the patron saint of the Nanankelizano, or the Confraternity of Christian Mothers, following Pittsburgh, and that's the Our Lady of Sorrow. And we usually have a convention every feast day of Our Lady of Sorrow, which is in September 15th. And because we have a lot of Christian mothers that are working, they're quite busy. So we felt that maybe if we just meet closest to the Sunday of that feast day, and that's why we have it every Sunday, and everybody comes around.
We had a big celebration last September at PAC. Was that correct?
Yes, that's a new program under the previous spiritual director, and I give a lot of credit to Father Albert, because he was very exciting for the group to also host a convention. When he asked us what would we like to see, not only the gathering for September 15th, the Feast of Our Lady of Sorrow, or the retreat that we have during the Lenten season, I kind of highly recommended to him that, our Christian mothers, even though a lot of us are older, not everybody is really teaching, but I would like to see that we bring a topic that is almost like catechizing, teaching a lot of the Christian mothers about their roles nowadays. There's a big challenge today between the traditional mothers and also the younger generations. That one was very successful, having it at PIC during the midst of the pandemic, but yet people come out. We went all the way out. Well, women are always very active, and they always want to have their own gathering. But and I give a lot of credit to a lot of the island presidents for really hosting that, and then of course with Father Albert, and then he was also able to recruit the other priests from the islands to give a topic on what was best for them.
And I know during the Lenten season, you also have a gathering. I believe, with the patron Our Lady of Sorrow. So like the Lenten season is an opportunity also to have that a liturgical atmosphere or motif, about Piniti, and wanting to come to grips with perhaps your own weakness and come to conversion. So I really I'm grateful that this ministry, and if you go to their gathering, the ones who are there, the members are really active members of our parishes, and you see them involved in the choir. You see them involved. They come to church every day, and the ministry of prayer is so important. And as I was reading this document and the history, that's why I says, on target, Mrs. Fleming, 1850, and the relevance really when it was conceived way back. The role of a mother as a catechist, as a teacher of the faith, it continues today. You mentioned about how the mothers of this modern world also need to be presented, to be introduced to the Christian way of life. So this is where I see also the connection with the members of the Nanan Kalisiano who are a bit older. Maybe it's safe to say manamko.
Mentoring.
And invite the younger ones and to pass on. That's that act of mentoring. And in terms of membership, how many do we have? And what are the you have younger mothers now joining also and having this opportunity to mentor from the manamko to the younger mothers.
Thank you, Bishop. And I think that's very important that we see the composition of how far where we are with the membership. And right now we have close to about a little less than 400 members. About half of that are active, half of that are inactive. There is also a fee that comes in to become a member of the Christian Mothers in each of the different parishes, and we only pay $2.50 a month. And to become a member, you get the benefits of everything else that is provided for the Christian mothers. Very few of the members, a lot of them have died already, the traditional ones. They have died already, but right now, homebounds are also part of our own service to go out and reach out to them, visit them. We have close to about 30 of them as of the last year, 2021, that we counted on. Some of them are off island, but 50-50. The ones that you see coming, we have in all of our gathering, whether that would be the Lenten retreat or the actual convention in September, we usually have between 100 and 125 to 150 that actually appears. And these are very strong Christian mothers. You mentioned about the roles of how, and usually we would have a preliminary meeting for the new ones. And the questions that come up is not surprising, but we also, I usually conduct what it takes to become a Christian mother, especially more so now where we have a lot of young parents and they are not their lives is very hard. They're not in the grace of the Lord. They have kids. And so that becomes a vicious cycle in the family life. And I think the roles of the Christian mothers can come into that one so that we continue to pray for all of these people. Do we include them? Do we not include them? There's usually a debate among the current members. And I always have to relay the message that we try to be inclusive in our membership. Even Jesus himself talks and eats with sinners. Who are we to really judge the people? We need to continue and lead them into a life that is in Christ. And a lot of them are hungry for this kind of activities. If we don't reach out to them, they'll never come to us. Just like in the church, we need to come in, visit the homes, invite them to come into the church. When there's an activity, fiesta or stuff, assign them meals or something, and they would just say, "Whoa, I never thought that they'll ask me if it's okay to bring out something." But that's inclusiveness. And so I think that recently we have been recruiting a lot of non-locals. And for me, I think it's a good start. It's a lot of work for me because I wasn't prepared for it. I have to come up with English version of all the devotions that we have. And we do have 4 novenas that it's mandated on us that we say every year on their feast day.
What are those novenas? Are those...
Let me just go, and these are some of the things that I put it together. Okay. These are the Chamorro version, if I may. We have the Novena Santa Ana, which is in August. That's part of our devotion. And then the other one is the Novena Our Lady for Consolation. And that's that one. And then, of course, we have the Novena for the Our Lady of Sorrow in September.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the December 8th, the big feast of the La Purissima. All of them. And then I came up with I went through a lot of websites on the English. At least I was looking for something very close. So when they're following, it goes, oh, okay, this is where they're at. It's easy for them to follow. And this, I have to have something. And I told these guys, if we're going to include non-English speakers, we have to be ready that we provide them with something. So I've been putting together books, whatever that I have for the Chamorro version, it's got to be in English also.
So this is a new development. The Nanay Kilizjano, the Christian mothers in the diocese, started all the prayers and novenas you had were in the vernacular. And now you mentioned about inclusivity, and in order to accommodate the non-Chamorro speakers, then you came up with this prayer books in English so that this new mothers.
I think it's important that we don't leave anybody out. I mean, if they're already being commissioned to be part of the Christian mothers, we need to look out for them. So we continue to fit them. And usually I would buy a lot prayer books and stuff like that. They love it. The books that we buy for them and we give them out during the conventions, they really enjoy, because a lot of those are prayers for special needs during the time in your life.
How do they become members? If one of our listeners right now they're interested, the mother is interested to be a member, what is the process?
Okay, if usually it's the president that goes out and tries to recruit, and sometimes we have a few people that really come to them. You have to go to your own parish, because you're recognized in your own parish, and you meet with the president of the president from that particular parish, and they'll register you. 1 week before the confraternity, the convention in September, we will have an orientation where we provide them what is required of them, what does it take to become a Christian mother, the devotions that we have, the responsibilities that we do have, just so when they come to that convention, they're a little bit more aware, equipped. And then on that day also is the commissioning of all the new members.
Are all the interested mothers, they're accepted right away? Or is there a process? Because you mentioned earlier about sometimes, the older Christian mothers would advise that, maybe we take this slowly. You have to attend to a particular aspect of your life so that you would be in a state of grace. Have you said, no, not yet, let's take a while? Or have you rejected someone who has come forward and wanted to be part of the Nanan Kalejano? What is the procedure?
We have people, women, mothers that do come to us that are not necessarily in the grace, meaning that they're living with someone that they're not married to for some time. And I'm glad that we are under a spiritual director of a priest, because that also helps us. And we may have differences of opinion on this one. But I have to tell, I usually try to push for my way, and he goes, it's not for us to judge. We should include them. And in the Archconfraternity for Pittsburgh, I asked our spiritual director from there, how do I handle this? And she said, he indicated out, and I goes, Esther, don't exclude it, just anybody. They could be called associates.
Okay. Yeah.
In the meantime, that we continue to pray for them. And we need to help them.
Yes,
we need to help them and lead them in the right direction, whether their previous marriage is cause enough for them to file for an annulment. And we try to catechize them. We lead them to whomever priest that would help them. But at the same time, we try not to say, no, you do not qualify unto. And so there's members, the old thinking that, no, you do not qualify. Nuns. Sister Remedio was one of our oldest member before.
Was she strict?
Well, she was not only strict, but she's not married and she's not a mother. So the way
spiritual mother.
So the way you respond to that, I mean, if there's nuns or just single women who do not have children, and they go, how can you say that they're not mothers? They raise kids.
Right.
Locally in our custom, I can be a mother to anyone's kids.
Right.
And so don't forget that.
Yes.
Don't exclude them in that kind of a category. There's a name for that. And just don't tell them no.
Yes. Yeah.
We need to invite them in so they can become a part of that. They can be more resourceful than the actual Christian mother.
Yes.
And so, but they're called the associates.
Yes.
So as far as qualification is concerned regarding the membership, we're not only talking about biological mothers.
Yes.
Okay, but we are also including now
Single.
the adoptive mothers.
You see, the culture of the island.
Guardians.
Yes. The culture of you have to think about, I may be a mother, but I'm not the only mother for my kids. I'm the mother for everybody in my compound, all my nephews and niece. And even when they call Carolinian culture, they will not call their mother, their auntie mother. It's mom. They call them father and mother. And so you sometimes get confused in the Carolinian culture because are they first cousins or they're...
Yeah.
And why is he calling him my brother? But their first cousin goes, no, they are brothers. That's the way the culture is.
Yes. So it goes beyond, I like it because it goes beyond blood relationship and the faith component is there. If that task of nurturing, of caring, attending, and especially in the spiritual well-being of the person, I think that's what we should be doing to each other, right? Taking care of each other and the approach of guiding, mentoring, and not saying, oh, sorry, we're an exclusive group. You're not qualified. Go somewhere else. It's very important that, we provide this and really offer opportunities for mothers and for those who would want to be a part of this as a tool, journey towards conversion.
Yes. And one of the things that, I brought up before is and our previous spiritual director was one of the goals is also to visit out into the parish, the parishioners. Is to really go out and assess your neighbors and try to assess how many how many in that household are they married first? Who's living in that household? And then you have kids that are not baptized. They haven't been to Holy Communion or CCD. So we try to take down notes so we can invite them to attend religious education program in there.
It really is a very beautiful ministry, and I would encourage anyone out there, not just biological mothers who are seeking for opportunities to grow spiritually, to contact Sir Fleming and your parish priests, your pastors, your administrators, and inquire about how you can be a member. And it's almost like we have different kind of spiritualities. The spirituality of being a Christian mother, it's a wonderful opportunity for members of our community to be a part of that and express that way of life. I mean, look at this, like all these things that you have prepared and made available for those who want to grow in faith. And I even what is that binder out there? That's kind of probably the activities that you have since day one.
This is the Bible.
That's a Bible. Yes.
For the Christian mothers.
Yeah. What do you see as a role of the priests in being collaborators with the Christian mothers in every parish? How do you? I guess what I'm saying is, what can we do more to perhaps assist and be a partner, be a collaborator in this ministry, so that we can also support your ministry?
I think foremost on my head, and I think it is very important, the involvement of our pastor in each of the different church, whether you do it in your own parish or we do it as a cluster or as a big convention like what we did but I think, and they play a very good, we're not expert in the faith. And so there's a lot of questions out there that I think yes, we're teaching catechism class, but I think a lot of it we're losing. If you're not a catechist, then you're completely lost. Imagine those that are not part of the catechism class as instructors. And I think it is very important that the priests, I really do appreciate if, you come up with questions and answers for us to come up with, and we'll have a question and answer, just catechizing, almost like once every quarter, even if it's twice a year. That would be something almost like the one in PIC where we gathered as a big group. Those kind of events, I think, are very, because by the time they finish, like the one at PIC, the people that came there, and quite a few of them are not members, goes, wow, we never knew that those are something that what the church teaches. I think we need to really teach a lot of our mothers. What does the church teaching about a lot of things?
Yes, yeah.
Praying.
Yes.
The 7 sacraments.
But not only the basic tenets of our faith, but also its relevance in society.
Yes.
We shared earlier about how in the CNMI, the Christian mothers were really instrumental in campaigning against casino, in going to the legislature in campaigning against abortion. Right. The respect for human life from the conception to death, and yes. All of this. So there is a connection between this devotion, what you do, and the day-to-day living. And that's basically the spirituality of a mother. You're involved in the life of a family from the minute you wake up to the...
No, I think those are very true. And in way back, we used to be super active. The legislatures are quite wary when they see us around when there's a public hearing. And the late Bishop Camacho used to use us as his arm and invites us, and he goes, we're going to meet up at the legislature. There's a hearing for the casino. And we would come in huge groups. We'll get there early and really come out and testify the importance of not having this passed. That one, abortion, which is also a big thing here as a topic for teenagers. And the casino, the abortion issues.
Yeah, and maybe opportunities like, for example, I know the month of April is a Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and how domestic violence is really happening in our families, and how Christian mothers can be instrumental in addressing this issue. There's a lot
I
that
think,
can be done.
Bishop, I know that I brought it out, but it's very true as Christian mothers. And when I do my professional development for my Cristo Rey Catechist, and even as a group, when we meet together with the coordinators, and I always tell them we need to be very mindful. It doesn't have to be in the public school only, where we try to help out kids that are falling off or they're being abused, whatever it is. We need a lot of, among the Christian mothers, signals on how we can take a look at a child that's going through. They're on the corner. They don't want to be touched or anything. Those are signals that I think as Christian mothers, as catechists, we need to make them become aware and teach them how to detect that. Now, do they take that responsibly? No. And I tell them, no, don't even get that close. You are supposed to report that to your pastor. Let your pastor come in and they'll take it. You move out, you go into the classroom.
Yes. And more importantly, Father Melvin, I think our own mothers are important, really very important part of our vocation story. When I talk to my mom, she would always say she prays the Holy Rosary for me every day. And there's 4 of us. I says, Mother, you better pray for me first before the rest of my siblings. And I believe in every parishes, our Christian mothers always include, praying for the pastors, for the priests assigned.
Yes.
So thank you so much for this. And let's encourage others to join and be a part of this
So
ministry.
if you have some final words to invite other people, like other mothers to join.
Yes, that would be nice to bring
and
in
non-mothers who are interested.
Yes. And I think those are very important. So my last words is we do have a new spiritual director, and that's Father Isaac.
Yes.
We have our first retreat with him the other day. He kind of laid out what he would like to see us picking up on some special events. And I want to pick up on that too with him. But maybe on that next round, we can have Father, and he's not new to this Christian Mothers with Father Isaac. Everybody was very happy that you have appointed him as the new spiritual director. I welcome him aboard.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. This is really very eye-opening, to at least for me. First, I didn't know that Nanan Klisianu is actually the Confraternity of Christian Mothers. So it's one and the same thing.
It's one at the same time.
And I like how it evolved from a more conservative definition of mother into an open and more inclusive version of this beautiful confraternity. Now we are talking about the single mothers. We're talking about adoptive mothers. We're also talking about spiritual mothers. We call our godparents godmother, godfather.
Yes.
See, these are all forms and expressions of motherhood. It reminds me of when Jesus was told, your mother and your brothers are outside waiting for you. And Jesus said, who is my mother and my brothers and my sisters? They are the ones who do the will of my Father in heaven. So it's a more inclusive definition of what a mother is. So to all the mothers out there, and those that are not biological mothers but are doing their best to play the role of a mother to a child, you are more than welcome to join the Confraternity of Christian Mothers, because this is a beautiful ministry. They have a beautiful set of apostolate. This is also your share, perhaps in the future, of making young people to become better Catholics.
Yes.